Okay, well, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you might be. Welcome to our Ask the Experts webinar. My name is Scott Price. I'll be your host for today's session of Ask the Experts, along with my co-host Ariel Da Silva. And our intention with this webinar is to present real solutions that our team has developed for clients using Atlassian products, or in some cases, third-party products that enhance the Atlassian ecosystem like we are today. And so we really hope that you might benefit from our expertise. And so just to begin with a little bit of housekeeping, we'll start with a technical presentation from our experts, and that will be followed by a Q&A session where you can ask us questions. And you can submit your questions anytime throughout the webinar, and I encourage you to do that as you go using the Q&A feature on Zoom. And we'll do our best to address as many questions as possible while we're live. But if you do happen to ask a question that we don't have an answer to, then we'll research that and get back to you at a later date. Likewise, if you ask a question, we don't have time to get to it during the webinar, we will also get back to you at a later date. And please note that this session is being recorded, and the recording will be shared on YouTube, along with any additional resources that our experts might mention. Let me just make sure that you're able to actually see the slide deck. And this one of my panelists can confirm that the slide deck is up. Okay. All right, so I want to introduce our expert for today and our topic. The topic is Beyond Native Backups, Enhancing Data Protection for Atlassian Cloud with Third-Party Solutions. And then we'll have a Q&A session after that. Our expert today is Rob.horan. He's a pre-sales solutions engineer for us at Valiantys. And he's an expert at cloud backups. And if you've been in the Atlassian Cloud ecosystem for very long, you realize that there are some limitations with the native cloud backups that depending on your size or the criticality of Atlassian tools, you might need a little bit of an enhancement. And so Rob, I'll kick this over to you. I think you have a slide deck to share with us, so feel free to take over the screen.
Yep, and you should be seeing it now. Please let me know if you're not seeing the slide.
Yeah, we've got it.
Perfect. So thank you for the intro. I'm going to be focusing on backup and restore options for the Atlassian Cloud. Because as you know, data protection is a real critical part of, your organization's strategy. And it's critical for a lot of reasons. Backups and really protect against human error, which accounts for the majority of data loss and incidents. These tools also mitigate risks introduced by third-party integrations, apps, and other pieces outside of your tools. And so with more and more organizations having a significant portion of their data stored in SaaS applications, having a robust strategy is really, really critical to safeguard this information. But it's also really important. These are, especially for enterprises, these tools can help you meet regulatory and compliance requirements, while also ensuring that your business continuity and is maintained, and that if there are any data loss incidents, that we minimize any of that downtime that you might have. Another thing is that these tools help to mitigate limitations brought on by shared responsibility models that most SaaS vendors have, including Atlassian, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But these tools are designed to scale with your business, making it really easy to manage and protect your data as you grow your SaaS footprint. And ultimately, they're here to give you peace of mind, knowing that your data is secure, accessible, and fully recoverable. Now, I mentioned Atlassian's shared responsibility model, and it's not unique. Most SaaS vendors have a shared responsibility model as well, but it's there to divide responsibilities between Atlassian and its customers, because Atlassian's really focused on building the best possible tools that they can. They're there to ensure platform security, reliability, compliance, and just getting you the best possible features that you can get you. With that in mind, ultimately you're responsible for creating and maintaining your own backups. So although Atlassian does maintain system level backups for disaster recovery and business continuity, they're really designed for infrastructure resilience. They're not there to restore individual customer instances on a regular basis, or restoring granular pieces of information. And that's why we're going to be talking about some of the tools that we're talking about today. Now, I'm going to talk about 5 different solutions. 2 of them are native Atlassian, and 3 of them are third party. I do want to stress that this is an overview session, and every one of these solutions could easily fill their own dedicated sessions. So we're not going to be going too far into the weeds in a technical manner. But I'm going to show you a lot of information on screen. Please put down your pencils. Don't try to memorize it. A wise man once said, "Hear me now, remember later." This is going to be on YouTube, so you're going to be able to come back, watch it on demand, and pause as needed. But we're going to start off talking about the 2 native Atlassian backup tools, one of which is in early access. And then we're going to talk about Rewind, Revyz, and HYCU. So first, to talk about the native Atlassian backup tool. This is built right into the tools, right into Jira and Confluence. Atlassian provides daily snapshots, which are retained for 30 days. Now, one of the things to really keep in mind is these are really only useful for full system restores. There are no options for granular recovery. The other major piece to keep in mind is that this is not a do-it-yourself kind of solution. Restores are going to require Atlassian support, kind of making them time-consuming and a bit complex. Also, the backup frequency and retention periods are fixed. And while manual backups are definitely possible, there are restrictions, including a 48-hour wait period if you're including attachments and other assets in your backup. Now, Atlassian does have a backup and restore tool that's in early access, and it's limited to a small number of customers for now. It does offer some significant improvements over the native backup I just mentioned, but it's still somewhat limited when we compare it to the third-party tools that we're going to mention. In particular, it lacks the granularity and robust data retention options that are needed for complex and enterprise setups. One thing to bear in mind is it does allow you to back up Jira and Confluence data in admin.atlassian.com, which is great. All of that information is stored online, but because it's in that admin section, it's also only accessible and usable by org admins, not site admins. You have to be a full org admin to use this. Backups can only be taken once, once a week, essentially. And new backups are only allowed 7 or more days afterwards. They're stored online for only 14 days. But you can, during those 14 days, you can download a backup up to 50 gigs in size to local storage. And then within 60 days of that backup, you can restore it to your site. Now, I'm just going to go show you this so that you can pause. But this tool does support critical core Jira and Confluence data, such as issues, pages, and critical configurations. But it doesn't support advanced features like automations or assets, which does limit it for complex setups. So the first of our tools that we're going to go over is Revyz. One of the things that I've heard from a lot of people when they start looking at Revyz is it may be a little confusing. When they go to the marketplace and they see the tools that Revyz offers, they see that there are actually 5 tools that are offered there. And you see those 5 here. We're going to cover the data managers because the data managers are a complete solution for Jira and Confluence. They provide complete backup, restore, and configuration management options. The other three provide targeted Jira functionality for configuration and asset management. And so you can pause later on, but this is an overview of those targeted apps that focus on the configuration and asset management, granular backup and restore needs. We're again going to be focusing on the data managers because they offer the comprehensive backup and restore capabilities and include all of the capabilities that the configuration manager and assets manager offer. It is useful to note that Revyz offers two versions of the configuration manager, one of which actually is embedded with Rovo so that you have AI-based configuration management, making it so much easier to not only back up and restore items, but to query the system to understand how your configurations are being used. Now, in terms of the data manager, this tool provides comprehensive backup and restore capabilities for Jira and Confluence, including issues, configurations, asset data, and automation rules. Now, these operate completely within Jira and Confluence. These are marketplace apps, so you get to use them natively within the tools. You don't have to worry about going to a separate account, logging into a vault like we'll see with Revyz or HYCU. And it's important to note that only site admins have access to this. Still, you'll probably have more site admins than you would org admins, and it just makes it a lot more accessible than the other tools we were looking at earlier. It's important to note, though, that the only tools that Revyz backs up are Jira and Confluence, so you wouldn't have Trello or Bitbucket or anything else outside of those tools. Now, data is backed up every 24 hours, and on initial install, the first backup happens immediately. You also have on-demand backups supported as well. Now, you do benefit from unlimited backups with up to 3 years of data retention. And there are storage caps with a minimum of 250 gigs and additional storage for larger teams over 1,000 users that cap out at 2 terabytes. One of the benefits of this tool is that data can be cloned and restored to other sites, making it extremely flexible, especially for building out items in sandboxes and migrating them up to the cloud, back to the production instance. Revyz provides secure and compliant backup solutions with global data residency options and very robust encryption. And it is SOC 2 compliance. Your customer has control of all encryption keys, and they do plan to support bring your own key in the future. Now, Revyz has recently introduced bring your own storage in addition to managing the data in their environment. So, and this is only for Jira. But if you wanted, instead of having Revyz manage your data, you can bring, I believe it's an AWS S3 bucket and store all of your data and have full control over your data in your storage environment. One of the last things I'm going to mention is that Revyz provides robust audit logging to ensure transparency by tracking all of your key actions, including all of your backups and restores. Here's a quick overview of all the key features for Jira and Confluence. The backup and restore options are really comprehensive for both Jira and Confluence. And as I mentioned, for Jira, there are additional features, including configuration management, site analytics. And one thing I really want to point out is malware detection for attachments. This malware scanner is really, really important, especially for service desk teams, because they often interact with external customers who may be uploading attachments to the tickets. This, of course, increases the risk of malicious files entering your system. So with the scanning tool, you can definitely and proactively detect and block harmful attachments and just ensure your systems are secure, and all while providing a seamless experience for your customers. Now, I'm just going to go through a couple of screenshots from within Revyz, and I'll do the same for Rewind and HYCU as well. Well, as soon as you install the app, the first thing you're going to see is the dashboard. And this dashboard is going to serve as a centralized hub for managing your data. It provides a lot of visibility into scheduled historical jobs and really ensures that you can track the success of your backups and your restores. It also displays available backup snapshots and monitors attachment storage and shows you your current license status as well. So in essence, the dashboard really acts as your control panel for managing and monitoring all of your system health and all of your backup operations. Now, I just want to explore quickly some backup settings. Here you can see how Revyz provides centralized control over all of your settings. You can enable or disable backups, define your retention policies, which are up to 3 years, which I believe this screenshot I think says coming soon, but it I believe is up to 3 years now. You can also review the region where your data is stored, track that metadata for deleted issues, and in the project inclusion and exclusion tab, you can easily view all of the projects that you have set up. And this is Jira, of course. The screens are different for Confluence, but we're using Jira as an example here. But you can essentially select and deselect everything that you want to back up with a click. And this really gives you a lot of flexibility so that you can tailor your backup operations to meet all of your specific needs. Now, when we get into, when we get into looking at the options for backups, one of the things that's really important is the ability to back up on demand. And you can select specific components to include or exclude, such as your automation rules, boards, filters, and notification schemes. So if you just need a very specialized or tailored backup on demand, within a few clicks, you can easily get this set up and ready to go. Now, the granular restore features allows you to recover exactly what you need when you need it, regardless of whether it's a specific issue, attachment, or a configuration. With Revyz, the ability to restore Jira configurations is a really unique feature that's absolutely fantastic, and something that if you'd like to dive in deeper, we'd love to have a separate conversation about that. But you can choose to either revert existing data to a previous state or create a new copy of something that you're restoring. And one of the great things is that this respects and handles parent-child issues and relationships and provides real-time updates during restores, not only giving you full control, but also ensuring full transparency as well. Another great tool that Revyz offers is site analytics. And this is really helpful to help you better understand your site and manage your environment. And it offers insights from not just how things are at the moment, but from all of your backups as well. So you can look at different points in time and do compares. So you can analyze trends, look at stats, and just visualize your object counts and activity. And there are 3 main areas of analytics: projects and issues, configurations, and assets. And so you can display issue counts across your projects that are categorized by the type, like Jira Software or Service Management. And this really helps you analyze the workloads of your teams and optimize resourcing. In the configurations, you can track changes to workflows, various schemes like workflow schemes and screen schemes and permissions. And it gives you comparisons between snapshots to ensure your governance is on track. And really, all this gives you a tremendous auditability capabilities. And the last is the asset configurations, which is great for Jira Service Management users to track all their object schemas and track changes across snapshots as well. One of the things that I'll tell you that as an admin myself, one of the pieces that I never loved is Jira cleanup and cleaning up old and redundant configurations. And Revyz's cleanup tools are a really fantastic way to help you just keep Jira nice and lean and mean by allowing for the selective deletion of unused or unwanted configuration objects. And all you have to do is go to the menu and select what type of objects you want to work on, and then you can get to a screen and select everything that you'd like to delete if as needed. Now, one of the things is that safeguards system integrity. So you can't just delete anything willy-nilly. It really does respect Jira's limitation, preventing any deletion of active or critical objects. The last piece I want to touch on are notifications and audit logs, which together really enhance the visibility and control of your operations. Now, the notifications integrate Revyz actions into a dedicated Jira project that Revyz will use to track all of the activity. So Revyz will automatically generate issues in a designated project that streamline tracking and management. And they'll use that notification scheme to let you know exactly what's happening and when these things are happening. So Revyz will create tickets that are linked to specific jobs and update their status using the native Jira workflow functionality. The audit logs provide a detailed record of all of your actions, including backups, restores, and all of those cleanup actions we were just mentioning earlier, while also tracking significant events like schedule changes and connection updates. Now, our next tool, Rewind, also offers a really comprehensive solution for managing backups. Unlike Revyz, Rewind is useful for not just Atlassian tools, but it also provides backup functionality, backup and restore functionality for many other SaaS products beyond the Atlassian suite. It too provides both full system and granular restore options. And unlike excuse me, these tools are named very similarly. Unlike Revyz, it is not installed like an app. There is a singular Rewind platform that you log into, and it offers a single pane of glass, as they call it, a single view for viewing all of your SaaS tools and managing all of your backup and restore operations. Rewind offers really granular access permissions, allowing you to delegate backup and restore duties to designated individuals. So if you want to make sure you only have a Jira backup admin and a Confluence backup admin, and if you're using Shopify, I think Shopify is one of the tools. If you have a Shopify admin, you can delegate all of these permissions to those folks. Default retention period is 1 year, and it includes unlimited storage with extended retention policies available on request. Now, Rewind is working on the ability to restore data to other instances, and this is currently in early access. And I'll get to that in a moment. It should be noted, though, that this is really only for full restores, but they're working on making that granular. Now, Rewind delivers enterprise-grade security, and just like all the other tools that we're going to be talking about, it's SOC 2 compliant and adheres to robust encryption standards, including data protection. Now, it has very flexible data residency options and supports single sign-on for seamless account access management. Now, one benefit of this tool is that it offers what's called Cloud Sync. It's not quite bring your own storage. Rewind, one of the main philosophies of Rewind is they want to ensure that you have your data backed up in more than one place at one time. So Cloud Sync enhances redundancy by creating additional backup copies in storage that you provide. So it provides extra protection on top of the storage that they're giving you as well. So it gives you extra protection and compliance support while keeping your primary backups securely managed in their environment. So again, the main takeaway here is that it's similar to bring your own storage, but it's not a true bring your own storage because they do provide storage of their own. But it does provide you with redundant storage, which really, really buys you peace of mind. So just as I showed you with Revyz, this table you can come back to and pause if you'd like to look at it in detail. But Rewind really offers comprehensive backup and restore solutions for all of your tools, covering all the essential data and configurations. Now, when you log into Rewind, the first thing that you're going to get to see is the vault. And the vault provides that centralized single pane of glass that you would use to manage all of your SaaS tools and their backups. And you can add new tools within minutes and easily navigate between them. So if you look on that left panel, you can see all the tools that are being backed up right now, including Bitbucket, Jira, and Confluence. And then within all of those high-level categories, you can see that there are individual sites. And it's very easy to navigate between all of the sites. Now, the core features of the Vault include, one, viewing all your tools, but also viewing recent backups, initiating on-demand backups, accessing all of your items, and monitoring all activity with clear indicators. Now, when you go and open up an individual site, you can see the main view, which serves as the central hub for interacting with the backup data for that particular site. Just like with Revyz, the automatic backups occur every 24 hours, and here you can see the next scheduled backup, along with timing of the last backup and other metadata, including data residency. You also, right from the screen, have the ability to initiate an on-demand backup at a click. Now, one of the great things about the Vault is that you can use it to search for specific items very, very easily, and locate those and use this search to restore items on a granular level. And when you go into restore, you can also look to see if you are restoring exactly what you'd like, because there are going to be a lot of different versions of your objects as you build up a backup history. And if you're unsure, one of the great things that Revyz offers is the ability to diff different individual objects. You can look at an object between 2 points in time, and when you go to do a compare, Rewind is going to display a JSON view that will get down into the nitty-gritty details, and so that way you can see exactly what's changed between versions. And you can use this to determine if you're restoring from the right point, or if maybe you have to go further back in time, or maybe forward in time to find the right point to restore from. So in addition to granular restore, Rewind, of course, offers you the ability to completely restore all of your data to your entire site back to a previous point in time. Just essentially good for rolling back to a specific state. And this is really good for when you have significant issues like site-wide data corruption or widespread accidental deletions. And so, as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that Rewind is working on is the ability to restore data to a different instance. At the moment, this is an early access, and it's a complete restore. It's kind of an all or nothing. There is no granular restore options when you're going to a different site. Rewind knows this. They know that this is their most highly sought feature, and so they're working really hard to get this out to you as soon as possible. So keep in touch with us if you'd like to hear more about this, and we'll let you know when this is coming down on the roadmap. Another great feature is the Site Statistics tab. Now, this provides you with an overview of the number of items that have been backed up over the past 7 days, 30 days, and all time, with a breakdown by item type. Excuse me, let me just get a little water. Sorry. So, like all of these tools, Rewind offers really fantastic auditing as well. So the audit log will record activities such as backup initiations, completions, logins to the different tools, which are really, really critical when you're delegating permissions out to different admins. Login attempts, both successful and failed, logouts, password resets and requests, and really anything and everything that you would need to provide to an agency that is auditing you for compliance. Lastly, Rewind enables you to delegate permissions on a very granular level. So if you have members of your organization that you only want to give permission for certain tools, you can tailor who can do what very easily by inviting members and giving them only access to the tools that you need. And to maintain security, it's really, really important to audit these permissions regularly. So so if anybody leaves, you can designate another person to back them up. But also just to make sure that only authorized individuals can log in and manage and restore your backups. So this is another tool just that can be used to assure that your data just really remains secure and under your control at all times. Now, the last tool that we're going to go over is HYCU. HYCU provides really reliable and robust on-demand backup and restore options for literally any SaaS tool possible. It covers the core Atlassian tools like Jira, Confluence, and Bitbucket, and many other SaaS tools right out of the box. It's powered by what they call R Cloud, and the R Cloud modules are what are used to govern all of the backup and restore capabilities. There are many, many, many pre-built modules available, but if for whatever reason you have a SaaS tool that's not covered by a pre-existing module, you do have the ability to create custom modules and make them available on the HYCU marketplace as well for others to use. HYCU integrates with Okta and Entra ID. And this is really fantastic because one of the things that HYCU will do is scan your entire environment if you'd like, and automatically discover all the SaaS tools that you're using and visualize them along with their protection status. Another standout feature of HYCU is that HYCU is true bring your own storage. Rewind and Revyz, they will, at least by default, they will manage all of your data in their environments. Now, Rewind does provide you with a bring your own storage option for Jira. Excuse me, Revyz offers a bring your own storage for Jira. Rewind gives you the cloud sync, allowing you to make extra copies. But HYCU is completely bring your own storage. They do not store a single byte of your data. They're only facilitating communication, facilitating the backup and restore operations ultimately. So this is really great for federal agencies, financial agencies, anyone who needs to ensure that they have complete and total control over their data and can store it in any environment that they like, such as AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, as well as local storage as well. So this would allow you to have storage in a hybrid environment. So you could make backups to your data center, your local data center. You can back up to the cloud as well. Just like all the other tools we've been looking at, HYCU provides really robust, granular, full restore capabilities. So you'd be able to recover specific data and configurations across tools like Jira and Confluence and Bitbucket and Trello. It does support critical configuration management, not quite as much as Revyz offers for Jira, but you do have the ability to restore essential settings and workflows selectively, which would ensure smooth operations and continuity, especially in a disaster recovery scenario. HYCU really does ensure enterprise-grade security with robust encryption and compliance standards. And you have the ability also to create backup policies based on your RPO and data and internal data retention policies. And you're able to create multiple backup policies to adhere to your needs. Really, it allows for tailored scheduling that can be quite complex. HYCU also has notifications that will be triggered for defined events. So that way you're always informed of any activities that are happening in your environment. And as I mentioned, it does integrate seamlessly with various cloud storage solutions, so cloud, on-prem, or a hybrid, really offering scalability and efficiency to meet all of your org's needs. So this is the last kind of table that we're going to be looking at here. I'm not going to go through all these in detail, but just know that HYCU really has a wide range of content that enables restoration for. So it covers all the varieties of Jira. So not just Jira software, but service management and Jira product discovery, which is really growing in terms of its importance and the ability to back up and restore JPD, along with Trello and Bitbucket and Assets. And again, all of your SaaS tools as well. Now, the first thing that you're going to see when you log into HYCU is a dashboard. And this dashboard really provides you with a centralized and intuitive interface for managing all of your data protection. Managing the data protection for all of your SaaS tools. And here you get an at-a-glance look, and it gives you real-time insights. And really easy to use tools for backing up and restoring all of your data and monitoring your system health. Oops, I just skipped ahead too fast. Sorry. First thing I wanted to point out, because this is a really critical and just fantastic piece here, is the R graph. As I mentioned, it integrates with your identity management to scan for all the SaaS tools that you might have and visualize their protection status. Well, this R graph is that visualization. It gives you a complete overview of essentially your data protection landscape, which tools you have and whether or not HYCU is protecting them. It highlights the relationships, dependencies, and vulnerabilities across your SaaS footprint, and it just helps you with making better decision making in terms of your backup strategies and just ensuring that you have complete coverage for all of your tools. Now, I mentioned backup policies, and HYCU's backup policies are a real differentiator for them because you can have multiple backup policies um, that are, one, redundant, but two, they really define how your data is backed up, where it's backed up, and how it's retained. And so these can be used for setting up automatic scheduling, setting your data retention so you can have redundant backups, some of which are saved for 10 years, some of which are saved for 10 weeks. And this really helps make sure that you're in alignment with regulatory and compliance needs and just ensures consistent and reliable data protection. So you have the choice of using some predefined policies that HYCU provides right out of the box just to get started, but it's very easy to set up custom policies as well. And I think most people would be using custom policies because everyone's got specific needs. But ultimately with these policies, you have the ability to control your backup frequency, your data retention periods, your storage locations, whether or not you want to have data stored offsite or on-site for extended periods. And in addition, you have the ability to create reports on these as well. A theme that I've had throughout all of this is auditing, and HYCU really goes above and beyond with providing audit reports, so that if you ever needed to report to an external agency, you have as much data as possible. Now, just as with the other tools, HYCU really offers a lot of options for, oh, sorry, I skipped ahead a moment. Let me just mention one other thing. When you are choosing a storage target, you have the ability to set up Amazon S3. I think I mentioned this before. You have the ability to set up storage for Amazon S3, Azure, Google Cloud, or other S3 compatible solutions, as well as on-prem. The reason I wanted to show this to you here is just to show you how easy it is to set this up. Now, this is a slide I was about to jump to a moment ago. Sorry. HYCU really does offer incredibly easy to use and robust granular and complete restore options. The thing I like about HYCU here is that it just makes the UI is just so intuitive. If you look at this here, it's really easy to find what you're looking for in restore. You just select a restore point, click on restore, and then you get the UI just guides you to exactly the type of object that you want to restore. And you would just pick that out and then pick the item that you want to restore. And just like we've seen with the other tools, HYCU allows you to perform complete restores as well, including all data, configurations, and relationships to ensure that your system is restored to the state it was in at the time of the backup. And again, this is really helpful if you have things like widespread data corruption or mass deletion events. One other really great benefit is that HYCU allows you to restore data to the same source as you were starting from, or a different site of the same type. So this could be sandbox production. This could be going to a completely different site as well. Lastly, and this is really, really important. I want to stress how great this is. HYCU provides comprehensive activity auditing through both task and event logging. So it separates these out. So task logging will be used to monitor the progress and status of operations like backups or restores, and really just gives you a ton of valuable insights for monitoring and troubleshooting. Event logging is separated out, and this is used to track user activities, such as who initiated backups, when those happened, um, who might have made configuration changes, as well as other system events like scheduled backups or error notifications. It's really good to track to see if anyone's changed any critical backup policies. Um, Nobody ever wants to think about it, but if you have any worries about any bad actors who might be trying to shut off backup policies for whatever reason, it's very easy to track this activity here. But ultimately, both of these logs together work to ensure transparency, accountability, and just make management of your environment and managing your backups and restores so much easier. So we've gone through a ton of information in less than 45 minutes. Um, and this slide is here to kind of summarize all these at a very high level. We're definitely not going to go through all of it. But just to quickly recap, Atlassian offers two solutions natively. They provide basic backup and restore functionality with kind of limited data retention, and no granular restore capabilities whatsoever, or configuration management. They do come right out of the box though. And they provide a starting point, a really great starting point for smaller teams and organizations that don't have very stringent backup and recovery requirements. But for most teams, granular restore is really important. I mean, we've all been in a scenario where we say, "Oops, I didn't mean to delete that," but we don't know about that until 3 weeks later. And in those 3 weeks, everybody's made a ton of changes. You can't just go back up to that point in time, because that's going to eliminate everything that's happened in those 3 weeks. So granular backup and restore, incredibly critical, and that's where these other tools come in. Revyz is focused specifically on Jira and Confluence. Gives you really robust configuration and asset management tools in Jira, along with site analytics and cleanup tools. It is focused entirely on Jira and Confluence, but it is incredibly easy to use. It's right within the tools, and it does give you a lot of options. It also offers you true bring your own storage, but only for Jira. Rewind combines simplicity and versatility. So while it's not in the tools itself, they give you a vault that's very easy to access, and it supports multiple Atlassian and other SaaS tools as well. Rewind does give you the option to use Cloud Sync to store additional backups of your data in your own cloud solutions, but it's not true bring your own storage. Whereas HYCU gives you enterprise grade compliance and robust configuration and granular recovery capabilities, along with true bring your own storage, with really, really highly customizable backup policies. And again, the big differentiator here is that you own all of your data and you retain full control. And with that, I think we are ready to take some questions if anyone has any.
All right, that's amazing. Thank you, Rob. I tell you what, this one slide here is worth the price of admission. It's great to see all of those
Thank you.
options, side by side there. And just to remind the audience, you can submit your questions using the Q&A feature in Zoom, which is located at the lower middle section of your screen. And I believe we do have some questions. To start with, Ariel, do you have some questions queued up?
Yeah. Hi everyone. Okay, so first chat question we have is, what are the limitations of Atlassian's native backup options?
So, I mean, the thing about the Atlassian native options is they're great because they're right out of the box. But the biggest limitations that I can think of are the lack of granular recovery. They really are all or nothing solutions. So they only allow for full site restores. The other thing that's really limited there is their data retention periods. So you've got, I think, 30 days for the native backup and 14 days for the new backup solution. Now, 14 days with an additional 60 days if you're able to download those backups locally. That's a big if, though, because the data size on those local backups is incredibly small. If I recall, it was, I think, 50 or 60 gigs. I have to go back to look at that data. But ultimately, between the lack of granular recovery and the limited data retention, and honestly, the storage size, there are a lot of limitations there. But again, they are right out of the box, so you don't have to pay anything more for those.
Yeah. Our second question is actually a complementary question to the first one, which is why should we use a third-party tool instead of Atlassian's native solutions?
That actually is another fantastic question. And you know, this a lot of times this comes down to a philosophy of why people would want to use marketplace apps in general. Well, one is that everyone's got different needs. You know, every organization needs to do things their own way and ways that work best. And so that's why you have things like advanced roadmaps, now called plans, and then other tools like Structure and Big Picture, because and even Jira Align, because everybody's got different needs. And every tool offers different features. And there's no way that Atlassian can make everything for everyone. I mean, if you look at a Swiss Army knife, when I was a kid, Swiss Army knives had like a knife, a scissor, and a toothpick, and nothing else. And nowadays, they've blown out into this massive, ridiculous tool that you can barely fit into your pocket. And it's not specialized. It's not. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do in the best possible way. And Atlassian's focused on doing that, giving you the best possible tools that work in the best ways. And then third-party tools really offer you advanced features that are tailored, that do what they do very well, and offer features that sometimes overlap, sometimes don't. But here you've got features like granular recovery, much longer data retention, you know, configuration management and backups, asset management and backups, different compliance options. And then what you need out of those, well, it depends. Some teams might want to manage all their backups right from within the tool. Like if they're using an app like Script Runner, where they go in, they can just go to the admin section and do all of their work there. Some teams really might need that bring your own storage approach. Especially, like I said, financial and federal agencies that don't want anyone else to have any hands on their data. It really depends on what the customer's needs are and how the tools best fit. But ultimately, there are specialized needs, and we can't expect Atlassian to handle every specialized need for every specialized customer within the general tool.
Rob, it seems to me like too, one thing about it, if Atlassian did build it for, the most unique and the most difficult use case, they'd probably have to raise the price for everybody, to accommodate that. And so I think it's great that they allow their system to be open so that third parties like this can really enhance the functionality that not everybody needs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can only imagine what the cost would be, especially if they were storing all of your backups
Right.
For like a year or two. If you look at Revyz and Rewind, they're providing storage for quite a long time. Now, Revyz's pricing is available right through the marketplace. Rewind and HYCU, their pricing, it's best to contact us because it's not always as clear to there's no easy solution, no easy way to determine the pricing because it's based on the number of tools and number of users. But yeah, ultimately, if Atlassian were doing this in a way that's as robust as these tools, they would definitely be jacking up the price.
Okay, great. Next question. You covered a bit on the questions prior, but someone asked, how do all of these tools differ in their backup strategies?
Okay, so I think if you look at all of these, every one of these tools kind of takes a unique approach to backup and restore. So the Atlassian native tools are really focused on providing you basic but full system restore, backup and restore capabilities. With like we said, limited retention and no granularity, but it's really there to give you that basic disaster recovery kind of option. And now they do have that early access program that gives you the ability to create additional backups on demand. But again, those are really there for full site restores. Now, Rewind, Revyz, and HYCU kind of differ in their approaches, whereas Revyz really focuses on comprehensive data and configuration backups for Jira and Confluence in particular, but they really went out of their way to make the Jira functionality incredibly versatile. So it's not just a backup and restore tool. It's really great for configuration management, asset management, and site cleanup. So it goes beyond just backup and restore to just being just a fantastic all-in-one toolbox for Jira, in addition to providing those. Rewind and HYCU kind of go beyond that by providing backup and restore for not just your Atlassian tools, but also multiple SaaS tools as well. They also provide backup for more Atlassian tools in Jira and Confluence. Revyz gives you that, plus, Rewind gives you that, plus a bit of an easier scenario. It's really easy to get into their vault, set up, and just hit the ground running real quick, while they handle a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So they provide the storage, and they just give you all the tools you need to back up all of your SaaS tools. HYCU is like a tank. It is fantastic, but it can be a bit more difficult to approach because you have to provide your own storage. The backup policies can be a bit more complex, especially if you have overlapping backup policies, but they're really, really great for enterprise level organizations or major financial firms where security is extremely important. But yeah, they really they just all are unique in those ways. And again, I urge everyone to go back, look at the slides, when this is on YouTube, go back, pause on on all of the tables and just read through all of the data. And I think you'll get a real complete picture of what each tool offers.
Okay, we have two more
Mhm.
from the ones in here. Next one, it's about the bring your own storage. So what industries or teams benefit most from bring your own storage model?
My understanding is enterprise level environments or organizations that are in regulated industries like finance or healthcare or government, where anywhere where data residency or compliance or regulations are really, really critical, or anyone who wants to ensure that no one other than themselves have access to their data. Anyone who needs to ensure that they have full control over their storage and compliance requirements. But really, regulated industries, major enterprises, and governments are the three that come to mind the most.
Okay, perfect. And last one, why is configuration management important for project restores?
So configurations are essentially what these tools really run on. If you look at Jira, especially with Jira, I should say, you have data that's structured in projects and all of your work items or issues. But everything is governed by the configurations behind them, like who can access, who can get in, who can perform which actions, the states that they go through. There are so many configurations behind these items, and there are so many dependencies. It's very easy, and this is another reason why governance is extremely important for these tools, to make sure that these configurations don't get out of hand. But Jira in particular, their projects rely on all these things like workflows, custom fields, and permissions. And when you're restoring them, if you're not restoring the configurations properly, if let's say you deleted a workflow scheme or you deleted a permission scheme, if that's missing when you go to restore these objects, they may not function properly. So when you're restoring data, it's not just about the objects that you're restoring, but how it fits in holistically with your environment. So configuration management is just really, really critical. So because without the proper configurations, ultimately your functionality can break. And so you're already looking at downtime when you've lost data. So you don't want to have more downtime after restoring your data, but trying to rebuild what was already there. And that's why a tool like Revyz in particular is really great, because it ensures that your data and configurations are restored together pretty seamlessly.
That's it. Thanks a lot. That's all the questions we had, Scott.
Okay, that's it. All right. Well, then we will bring this to a close, and want to thank Rob Horan for his time. Rob, thanks for sharing with us. It's really great content, great information, great choices. And we did get to all the questions, so we don't have any follow-up to do there, but we'll just mention to everybody that keep an eye out in our YouTube channel for this. This will be posted. You might have friends that would benefit from this information, and feel free to share that YouTube link with them when that comes out. Before we do sign off, I just want to mention some upcoming events that we have. And there's going to be a link in your chat that gives you a link to go find out a little bit more about those. You'll see Jira Bootcamp, Confluence Bootcamp, Angular Bootcamp. There's several boot camps that we offer that are really helpful if you are wanting to dig in deeper and get to know a little bit more about how Jira and Confluence really work, and especially behind the scenes. And if you want to know more about our professional service offering, reach out to Ariel or myself. Our emails will be in the chat as well. And thank you so much for spending your time with us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.